the agenda, but yeah, I don't have any of it.
Well, that's no excuse.
And they said it would take many hours.
Hold on. Hold on.
We imagine, of course, when you have a 500-year rain, you know, where it's that many inches all at once. Right. But if it was engineered over engineered, you could be on that. Well, it's kind of challenging, honestly. Well, 213 is gone. I don't know if it must have been more.
Number 6, is that correct? Is that one?
No, it's when we want it off.
Yes. That's the one.
But October 6th is Faith and Blue, right?
So it's we either have to do it 7th, 8th.
Or that next two? No, we have to do it that week, won't we? Because of the city council.
Yes, city council
Yeah.
would be the next one. Yes.
I'm good with all of them, so I'll pick.
Okay, I didn't print nothing out, so I'm going blind also.
I feel better. It's been one of those weeks.
Okay.
Presentation.
Yes.
Yes.
And then item 12, the parking lot. Temporary zoning.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, I was planning on 7 through 12.
The faith. Yeah, national line item, faith and blue.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, it is 6 p.m., August 4th, 2026. I hereby call the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Montgomery, Texas to order. The next item is the Pledge of Allegiances. American flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Next item is citizens' comment. Is there anyone out in the audience would like to have any public matters they'd like to discuss? Anybody written in? Okay. Item number 4 is the presentation and discussion regarding the proposed residential development located at 900 Caroline Street in the Historical Preservation District, including a proposed lot split, rezoning from R1 single-family residential to R2 multifamily residential, setback variance request, and construction of 2 new family dwellings.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just as you had stated, this is a presentation by CIAC Partnership Limited, and that's Mr. Cheatham, Mary Cheatham, they're here for the presentation. Following this presentation, there will be a discussion in reference to the design of the proposed buildings that they'll have on both of the, or each of the lots that will be created. So if we'd like to start with the presentation, Mr. Cheatham.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Chris Cheatham and Eric. We've been around the building for 32 years now, a long time. Developed lots of property in town over the years. Care a great deal about the city, live in the city, work in the city every day. This particular lot has a sentimental value to me and my mom and dad owned this lot years ago. And one of the first ventures that my father was involved with was building a duplex in Houston many years ago. So I hope they're looking down and they're okay with this project we have tonight. But over the years, I've looked at many two-family dwelling units. This one particularly attracted me because it looks like a single-family dwelling, which is really important to me. It's a Southern Living plan. It's produced by them. So I think it's appropriate for the historical district, and some things that we think about with regard to housing in Montgomery. Housing is in the news every day, how difficult for a lot of families to afford a place to live. So this is a little more affordable housing that we would like to provide in Montgomery. And we're respectful of the location, historical district. Many years ago, I sat on the commission that formed the historical district here. It's a beautiful location across from the park. And so we like to go forward with this one.
So these would be rental properties.
They were.
Okay, all right, okay.
How many total families?
2 families per unit, to be 2 units.
So if 2 people drove 8 cars,
We're going to provide a garage coverage
okay.
for each unit.
A garage per duplex or double car per?
So before
Okay.
garage units. We developed the neighborhood next to the west. Always been fond of the idea of rear-loaded residences. So these will be in the rear. We have one driveway entrance into the property, and then the garages will be behind the residences.
So they will go past the house and drive behind. Is that the entrance you're
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
to?
It'll be on the
Okay.
east side of the lot. One entrance for both units.
So what's the total parking spaces? Is it 8 or is it 4?
Each dwelling will have a 2-car garage.
Okay.
So 1 car garage.
So the total of 8 spaces? If
Well,
there's 4 units?
You'd have 1 covered space, and you can
Okay.
have another covered space.
Okay.
Are they 1 story?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the square footage?
Each unit is about 1,100 square feet.
Okay. And so one family would get 550 and the other one would get
No,
500?
it would be, it's each unit
Okay. All right.
is about 1,100 square feet.
Are there any variances to our ordinances that you'd expect?
There is one that we're looking at. On the west side of the lot are 2 old growth, very mature, beautiful trees. So we need a little bit of room to make both units fit on the side lot line. So that's our request for that. We can make them fit within the ordinance, but we lose those trees.
Mhm. So that would be the only ordinance would be to move the line
Yes.
for the trees. That's the only setback you're asking.
Yes.
Is it going to be similar to the house that's sitting there now that Bonnie lives in? Is it going to fit along those historic looking lines, or is that?
The houses that come to mind are the ones that are on College Street.
Okay,
There too. I mean, the white has been their primary color for years, so that's the same color
okay.
we'll use. And some cream or white, vegetation white, vegetation gray.
Find the names.
I know another agenda item was discussing the looks of it, but I think the general concept is a great development, and it's a market we don't currently offer much in Montgomery, so I think it's a great idea. And in a great location. I mean, I don't know if you can beat that park right now.
So you are talking about long-term rental, not Airbnb?
No.
Okay, you're talking about meet the family, go to school, okay. And it is rent, not rent to own or anything like that? Okay. I think it's a good concept as well. They are talking about, when it gets into further discussion, right, we'll be talking about rezoning and the setback variance and the construction of the two-family dwellings. So that's, right now, you're just asking, hey, what do you think about it?
Basically,
Okay.
yes.
And you are considering, because of the design, to take those two trees down?
Well, no, that's a variance. I'd like to.
Oh, you want to keep them? Oh.
That's what the
well,
variance is
Well,
for.
I just want to clarify. I'm like, well, got to protect the trees.
I know.
I know every time you see a tree, you go, oh, where's Marion at? Every time you see a tree.
Yeah, those trees are right next to Miss Richmond's house.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge, they're gorgeous in the fall.
Yes.
We're, everything you're seeing looks good, correct? With the,
We haven't discussed the details
Yeah.
yet, but we'll be going through the.
I mean,
list.
what you've seen here. Yeah.
How much greenery, how much yard will they have? Is it a yard big enough for like a swing set, or is it going to be like just kind of like a garden type area?
No, there's some good size
Okay.
lot for each
Okay.
of them. And I don't know if y'all have in your package the site plan with the two units.
Yes.
It's pretty roomy.
Okay.
You know, another thing that we want to do there is to extend the sidewalk in
That's more
town.
like a common.
So it stops at the 20 lot.
Yes, it does.
So we have the opportunity to do that.
To carry on that sidewalk, right? Oh, that'd be so nice for downtown. And it would be city water, okay?
So it looks like the green area is common space, right, for the most part?
You talk about the photo you're talking about?
This picture?
You know, again, the way that the unit is built, it's each, you could say a common area with a porch there. But there is some separation in the corridor that runs between the two units. So you get, there's not illustration would be all along, there's no common wall comes in, it's like the front would be. So your entry comes in through the corridor, and then they can reach you from the sidewalk.
But there's no separate fenced off.
The green space is all
It would
shared.
be common.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's actually quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's. Interesting design.
You thinking any fences or anything? Or is it gonna be kind of like the metal? Are you thinking along the lines of the?
Possibly, maybe for some security reasons
Yes.
between the garage to the unit. and the
All right.
rear,
I'm just wondering, you know, it's right across from the park, so kids come and go. And to be honest with you, people are walking around that street all the time because they feel
yeah.
safe.
They are.
Yeah, so,
We built a lot of fencing at the neighborhood to the west, and we'll probably do that in front of
Right.
this park.
Any other questions for now?
I like the way it looks.
I do too.
There's no action item on this one, right?
No.
It's further than action. I think we're good for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Okay, item 5. Consideration and possible action on the planning and zoning meeting minutes of July 7th, 2026.
I'll make a motion for approval of the P and Z July 7th, 2026 meeting minutes. as
I
presented.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the July 7th, 2026 meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion passes. Item number 6, consideration of possible action on request for approval for the proposed design for two new two-family dwellings to be constructed on the property located at 900 Caroline Street, legally described as Montgomery Township, Town Site 07 Lot 8A-1 within the Historical Preservation District, Development Number 2608.
Good evening again. The applicant, again, CIAC Partnership Limited, is requesting review and approval of their proposed architectural design for the two new two-family dwellings that's going to be constructed at that 900 Caroline location. Because it is located in the Historic Preservation District, we're following the section 98-347 of the City Code of Ordinances that says that the Planning and Zoning Commission would review this against the design guidelines for the city. I went through some of these items. They did provide the building elevations, the architectural details, and the site design. They should be in your packet. They're available for your review. Compared it to some of the notes that I had in the design guidelines. And I don't know if you want me to share this with you all. I guess I haven't had a chance to share it with you all before, but I have a little cheat sheet that I use that talks about the 1830s to the 1941 design, structural design of, I guess, Montgomery, that these design guidelines are going off of. And I did see that the style does reflect that general era. The building placement and form looks like it's compatible with all the surrounding neighborhood, the setback of the other single-family dwellings in that area. They They will be going through a lot split of that larger lot. They'll be rezoning from an R1 single family to an R2 multi-family zoning district. The variance request is because of that lot split in the center. It'll be 5 feet on either side where it's going to be split equal between the two lots. And it is because they'd like to preserve the trees on the west side of that property. The proposed driveway is going to be along the east side of the property, and it will go behind the two structures. And that's where the two-car garage will be located. So you'll have one vehicle per unit in the garage, and then there'll be parking space available for a second vehicle. Our ordinance does require for at least 2 parking spaces for single-family residential, but I think as soon as it goes into the multifamily, I believe it's 1.5. Is that right? 1.5. And for the parking. But they'll have that parking that's going to be available. We'll check to make sure when we do go through the review process of their plans. The color, so based on the watercolor picture that you've received, it looks like the white is going to stay as the color of the exterior. We do have the property owners here, so we can always verify with them. The shutters will also be that same color there. The building official did look at the plans to verify that it can qualify as that two-family detached because the roof is a single roof line, and the fire separation will be in that roof area. Other than that, no property fencing, at least at this time, is proposed, and the staff does recommend approval of, based on the design guidelines, the architectural design of this. And again, approving these design guidelines does not constitute approval of their lot split, the variance, the rezoning, or anything like that. It's specifically for the architectural design of the structure.
So this is just approval to proceed with everything?
Yes, to proceed with their design.
Of other, yeah.
Okay, so I see here facing the buildings, I'm on Caroline Street. The first duplex will be 10 feet off of the existing neighbor, that white fence right there. And then off of Bonnie's side is 17 feet.
Because of the trees.
Right. So we usually talk about what's on the side of the buildings and houses with their air conditioning and all that. So is that enough room? And will there be the air conditioner or generator or whatever on those sides of the homes? You see what I'm saying?
Proposing those units, the mechanical units in the rear yard.
Okay, good. That's what I was wondering.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but it's 15 feet from off the west side, isn't it? The road is 10 foot wide, but the dimension I'm seeing from the property line is 15 feet.
To the house, to the
Yes,
line?
to the house, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the rear fed
Yes.
Yeah.
HVAC. I mean, it's a pretty small unit
Yeah.
to feed that. It's not going to take a ton of.
So right now on the site plan, it shows 17 feet on the west. Then you'll have the 2-family dwelling units. You'll have 10 feet in between the 2-family dwelling units. That'll leave 5 feet on one side of that property line and 5 feet on the other. And then you get over to the driveway. The driveway will be 10 feet wide, but the actual setback from the side property line is 15 feet on the east side. And the setback from the front is 25 for the section of the house that's closest to the road is 25 feet. And again, that's from the property line.
How close are you, will you be, I mean, I see the measurements, but you're going to be continuing that drive, right, from the other homes. How close are you to the existing families that are behind that lot? Is it still a 25-foot setback for vegetation, or what would that be? You know how there's the green lot, and then in behind you is houses, right?
There's
So,
a vacant lot.
Okay, there is, okay,
Right now.
okay,
So if you're looking at the plan, it shows 75 feet.
Yes.
In the rear yard
yes,
to the garage,
okay.
to the front portion of the garage. So that's a pretty good distance.
I was just wondering, because you're going to lay cement, right? Are you going to pave it back there?
Right.
I was just wondering
Yeah, but it doesn't look like all of the pavement is going to go
to the,
all the way out.
okay. That's what I'm wondering is the
We'll be
green
able to
space.
address the visual
All right.
barrier there.
And that roof looks to be tin, or is it
we-
metal, or
Rather than the standing, so we probably would ask for concrete composition.
composition?
Yeah. It's a little very-
Right now, the watercolor is just showing tin, but you're going to do copper.
What
And
type
this-
of material is the porch or deck?
I'm sorry.
The porch or deck? What type of material is that? Is that a hardy? I see
Hardy.
part of hardy.
It probably already throughout, the siding and everything, we already, Hardy now makes just about everything, soft material, everything.
Yeah. Sorry, Mary.
No, I'm fine. Sorry.
Just comparing the watercolor to the site plan, there is vegetation in front of the house. I do like that on the watercolor, it's not on the site plan. Is that something you guys would plan to incorporate? Okay.
Front. Yeah. Other things.
It does.
That's raised.
Is it pier and beam? It is.
No,
No, it's slab?
No, it's slab, okay.
I think just thick.
the original drawing was spirit, but
Yeah.
it's not too practical here.
So I'll make a motion for approval of the proposed design for two-family dwellings to be constructed on the property located at 900 Caroline, community described as Montgomery Townsite, 07 Lot A-1 within the Historic Preservation District.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the request for the approval of the proposed design for the two-family dwellings, 900 Caroline Street. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. That motion has passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, discussion regarding the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, CIAC requirements and the recent Texas impact fee legislative changes.
Right. Good evening. We're going to go through this item. There's no action on it. This is more of an update. There's some new members of the commission, so we'll give you all an update on what this is in the background, and then we'll have action items that will come after this at future meetings. So back in 2016, the city adopted impact fees. And so the whole intent of that was creating a mechanism for development to fund capital improvements to allow for the expansion of water, sewer, infrastructure, and have that cost be borne by developers instead of existing residents of the city. That was the genesis of the impact fee. So those were adopted in 2016. You'll see a copy of the ordinance in your packet. Those were then put into place in 2017. There's a 1-year kind of wait before those were started to be collected. And so they've been assessing and collecting impact fees ever since. So to date, I think we've collected roughly $3 million in impact fees with all the development and growth between now and this time next year. I think they expect to have collected a total of $6.5 million in impact fees, which goes a long way because you can use that not only to directly pay for infrastructure projects, but also pay for debt issued to fund infrastructure projects. So we're able to, in the last certificate of obligations the city issued for the major water and wastewater line projects, the goal is to be able to utilize some of those impact fee revenues toward those debt service payments to soften out the blow on potential other revenue sources to fund those projects, especially since a lot of these projects have to get done prior to development and the taxes and everything that comes along with it generated for the city. So originally when this was set up, there was a separate committee that served as the Capital Impact Advisory Committee. Based on the original rules, 40% of the group had to be made up of people in the real estate and development world who did it, and the rest of it to be anyone else. So that was a separate group that was meeting when all of this was going down. It was a pretty labor-intensive. Were you on CIAC?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Usually you were. It was labor-intensive, a lot of meetings, because it was going through not only what projects, but how it was structured and everything else. So once that was in place and it was working, the city decided to switch the separate committee to have P&Z serve as in that role. So P&Z acts as the Capital Impact Advisory Committee. It is one, kind of like we did for Board of Adjustments for City Council. Instead of having a separate Board of Adjustments, City Council serves in that capacity just to help move things along. So that kind of brings us to last year. So last year the state adopted new rules that put a lot of more restrictions on impact fees. Those are summarized in your packet that you'll see. And there's 5 main points. 5 main points to the revised rules. Number 1 is every time you increase the impact fee, you have to have an independent financial audit performed. This isn't just the city's general audit that they do every year, and it can also not be performed by the same firm who did the audit for the city. So there has to be a completely separate audit that is done. They have changed where you can now only increase every 3 years. So where it could have been, we were doing it generally on an annual basis or so. Sorry, there's a fly that's going right. That now it's changed every 3 years. So the last update was done right before the new law went into effect, so in August of 2025. So the next time that the city is allowed to increase the impact fee would be August of 2028, would be the next time. So that's a new rule that went into place. Governing vote, it now requires a 2/3 vote of the body to approve changes. Public land use assumptions, this one's pretty easy, it just has to be made available at least 60 days before a public hearing, and the review period gets extended to 120 days. So it just lengthens out the time for the public to have time to review. And then the final change was industry representation. The advisory committee has to be made up of at least 50% from real estate development and building industry. So a lot of goals meet that rule. So the next thing is one of the other things that has changed more in practice is the way that it was set up. There's a biannual review of the impact fees, which you would review the projects and the costs and any changes. Hey, did we have any annexations, etc., to then recommend making changes to the impact fees. Now it's more cursory because you can't change it for 3 years, but we'll still do that annual review, which is why we're talking to you about this now, because that's going to be either on the next agenda or the following, is to go through and review. So review what has been collected on impact fees, what are the funds being used for, what status of the projects and status of development that go in it. So again, y'all's role as CIAC is to review that list of projects, kind of ask questions on the reasonableness and what they're for and why it's for the growth of development. You cannot use impact fees to just take care of infrastructure. It has to be for expanding capacity. So we've done a lot of water line replacement. If you want to replace a water line of the same size, you can't use those funds. If you're upsizing that water line to accommodate future growth, then you can use those funds. So in your packets, you'll see the original ordinance, followed by the latest update that was done, like I said, back in August of 2025. In there, you'll see your current impact fees, which are up to a total amount for a single-family home of $47.88, and it goes up from there. This is all based on equivalent number of units that can be served. And so, for a single, 5-inch meter, you're looking at $4,800. All the way up to a full 8-inch meter for a large apartment complex or something like that, it's $500,000, give or take. And so again, it's true dollars. It makes an impact, but again, it's a way for the city to complete these projects to be able to continue to serve the development. So also in the packet, you'll see a list of those projects and those estimated costs that made up that amount. So. Any questions you'll have on what the committee, there's no action today, just more of updating y'all on what the committee does and what the rule changes are and what to expect kind of coming up here in the next month or two. We'll do our review of the projects and the fees and everything else.
Are we guided along this journey that we're now
Yes.
associated with? And who's guiding us?
Us.
Okay.
So correct. So we'll produce we update the report each time. We walk through the steps of what changed and why. Typically, the things that change the most are the land use assumptions and the project cost. Things are getting cheaper, so updating its project cost as we go, as well as, especially when we annex or there's a major shift in the use of a property, where hey, we expected this to be commercial, it turns into multifamily, or single family to something else. That changes. This is all, when you look at the document, it's all about what is the total cost of all the projects divided by the total number of increase in units or increase in equivalent connections. And so when we're either changing the numerator and the cost of the scope of the projects, or we're changing the denominator and the amount of growth that the city is looking at. So we'll present y'all the updated maps to show what those assumptions are based off of, as well as the projects, what they are, what they're for, and then ultimately what the capacity does. Okay, we're here for questions. You have it between meetings, etc. So next time you'll see it, what we'll do is we'll dive into the actual what. This is more just the overview. What the original analysis showed, what the current analysis shows, and give you an idea on the projects. Because a lot of the projects that are on that capital list are either in the process of being completed or have been completed. There's a couple ways about it. Those details.
Look forward to it.
What do you do with the abandoning mains? I see that you abandons number 7. What happens to those abandoned lines? Are they filled or are they just covered up? What lines? Okay.
Either they're filled or they're removed. Depends how we're abandoning them. So sometimes we'll do like through downtown in that project. A lot of it was done by pipe bursting. So we'll send the new pipe along the old line and just we'll break it in the ground and expand it out and pull the new line through so it uses the same spot, especially when it was so tight, especially by the cemetery.
Yes.
I did not want to go dig new holes around the cemetery, so we said, where the lines are today versus 100 years ago, we try not. If they're left in place, they get filled with a grout, so that if they collapse in the future, you don't have sinkholes or anything.
Okay. Do we have any planned annexes coming
Not
down on the
this
west end? Nope.
No, the latest one that would have impacted this was on the east side, the Mio Lago Reserve.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That had the larger lots with the septic systems. That has since gone away. They're building it now into soccer fields and staying outside the city. So
Okay.
that would have been an annexation, but there's no other, there's some potential. We're in feasibility study right now for adjacent to HEB,
Mhm.
working across the KOA property. If that goes forward, there's a potential annexation, but that's the only one currently on the radar.
Good. That it? Everybody? All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, discussion on the findings of the utility and economic, excuse me, feasibility study on Cottage Green development, development number 2605.
All right, so reading your packets, you'll see a copy of the feasibility study for this development. So we're going to go through, this was presented to council, accepted by council, just to give you all an update. It'll have to, doesn't change any of the processes, this doesn't approve the development, this doesn't approve plans. This is just kind of the general what it's going to take and what to expect from the development. So what this is on the corner, there's maps at the back of the packet. This is at the northeast corner of Lone Star Parkway in Buffalo Springs. So it's Taylor Morrison is building the one side, the new development. You have Peel Point to the north. And so this is that remaining 19 acres of that harbor corner there at Buffalo Springs and Lone Star Parkway. So what this developer is proposing is a multifamily cottage-style, townhome-style development. So they're looking at a total of 211 units. Those range from 1 to 2 bedroom, some being more the cottage style, some being a more traditional multifamily. We're only looking to go up to 2 stories in height that covers this area. There's a copy of a land plan in your packets. One thing I will note that as of today, they sent us this afternoon an updated land plan with more parking, because I think scroll back to it. Let's see. Originally, they were a little light on the parking spaces, so they have since changed it to those. They're now at a total of 211 homes and 426 parking spaces. So that's not 211 bedrooms, it's 211 1 and 2 bedroom homes. So there's a little bit more, but a total of 426 spaces. But their land plan looks generally the same for the most part. So a couple things on this development to note. So starting in our report at the executive summary, you'll see first of all, so for water and sewer, so obviously as we've talked about before, you have both the water plant number 3 booster pump project that has since recently been completed. Water plant number 4 we expect to send to the paper to start advertising for bids next week. That is the full water plant on the Briarley property with the elevated storage tank. You need both of those in order to, this development and all other developments in process to continue to provide service. And on the sewer side, very much the same thing. So right now, the city's in demolition of the old sewer plant. That contract was let a couple months ago, and they're breaking it out as we speak. But then the thoughts of bidding the wastewater plant project here in the next few weeks to get that project going as well. Going down the list on kind of the summary. So the biggest things, there are no public extensions needed to serve this property. There's water and sewer along both Buffalo Springs and Lone Star Parkway, so they will be connected to those. They would have estimated impact fees. This is just based on an estimate of their meter size, kind of like we just talked about, of approximately $500,000, $550,000 in impact fees that they would pay. And then based on the development's info, they expect a full build out, the value of the development to roughly $31.5 million, which at your current tax rate would be generally $120,000 a year in ad valorem tax that the city would expect to receive once it's built out. A couple things as we continue to go through regarding zoning. So currently the tract is located in the PD planned development zone. Based on that original exhibit that this was created, it's intended this to be a mixed-use area. So this multifamily use wouldn't be allowed within that, so there's not a rezoning required on the property. They would still have to follow multifamily regulations as far as setbacks, etc. So where they abut both the north and the east side against single-family homes, they would have to have those required setbacks regardless of the zoning. This is the use of the property. Talked about water and sewer. Again, there's, as we've been saying forever, things are getting tight, but it's more tight on paper, and it's all the projects that are needed to support it are all in the works. And so I'll go over the graphs here in a little bit. Roadway and access, so all their access will be off of Buffalo Springs. They will require to submit a traffic impact analysis because that's 211 units or 211 homes that going on to Buffalo Springs that they need to have turn lanes, etc. They'll be required to submit that to the city. Same thing with drainage. They'll be required to submit a drainage impact analysis showing that they have no adverse impacts on the neighboring properties. They will be, this question came out during council, so ultimately they will be flowing to the north and through the Taylor Morrison development and the ponds that they're putting in. And so they've been working closely with Taylor Morrison and Taylor Morrison's engineer regarding coordination of that to make sure they're not causing downstream impacts. And kind of a couple other things to note. They don't expect any variances. They were worried about the parking, so they revised the land plan, so they should have the parking, but again, that will be reviewed during the development process. When you go through your packets, I'm on the page 46 area, you'll see copies of those exhibits, where they're located, as well as the water and sewer projections tables, which it loads. So on page 47 of the package, you'll see that the projected uses get close to the numbers. However, like I always say, those we plan conservatively. We plan for pretty aggressive growth of those developments, and the projects are therefore kind of getting completed right on time. For the water system, so this is all based off of the average daily flow. So this is not, you get close to that in the peak summer months that it's all going to fall apart. You have, the state requires about a 2.4 peaking factor, so you can pump a lot more water than is what's shown on this graph in those peak demand times. So it's not, hey, we're not, when we turn on the water, it's not, nothing's going to come out. It's an average daily flow, not a peak.
So, but for a short duration, we won't meet that?
No, we will. And again, these are all projections. So right now, when you look at, I'm on page 47, so the water graph, that bottom line is the most realistic. And where you have a little bit of a gap between the timing of the developments. The other lines are all in feasibility, in projections, and a lot of these projects are continuing to push back. For example, the big users are that we put them all as kind of a lump. So the apartments behind BCS, which have since kind of pulled out, there's no one looking at that now. That is a lump hitting at 80,000 gallons a day at one time. So those are moving out. So we're still, it gets close, but we're still, again, conservatively, but right on time with the developments or with the projects.
Okay.
Sewer is the same. Again, once the expansions are done, there's plenty of capacity. And when you look at the historical trends, the water trend is kind of following along with it. The sewer trend just hasn't seen that increase that we have. But again, there's a lot of development coming. However, we're also seeing Montgomery Bend and others delaying their next starts of their sections while home sales continue to catch up. So they're in here conservatively, not at a point of raising the bar. So, yeah, if I answer any questions you have on it. So again, this doesn't approve anything. They still have to, any variances, they have to get those approved, plan approval, plat approval, drainage and traffic impact analysis approval for the development.
What, and since they are in the old planned development, what variances could they ask for? Or what do you think they're going to?
So the biggest one that we were concerned of was setbacks and traffic, or excuse me, parking. They have since revised the land plan to have adequate parking, so that shouldn't be an issue. There'll be a mixture of open, non-covered spaces, carport spaces, and garages for those. And then the setbacks, which they've said that they will honor and put those setbacks along the Taylor Morrison development. To the north, they have a pond, so it's the development pond and then Peel Point Drive. So there's already there'll be a setback in that area. But it was more concerned over the houses in Taylor Morrison. So I don't expect any variances. They're trying hard to follow all the rules.
Is it gonna be gated or fenced?
It is. It'll be gated at Buffalo Springs, and not open.
This isn't the first development we've looked at on this property, right?
No,
Was there one a few years ago where a lady came in about a potential cemetery on there? Was it that?
that's next door.
That's
Yeah,
next
so
door?
very,
Okay.
very same spot. So
Okay. Just want to make sure.
immediately, the Taylor Morrison property, so there is a cutout
For
There's
that.
2 lots that weren't built on and were undisturbed because of that.
Okay.
It's adjacent to this, but
Oh, yeah, you can see it on the map.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then, so PD accommodates multifamily was the right question.
Correct. Yeah, so when the PD was created, there was a general plan put together that marked out single family, mixed use, commercial, multifamily, institutional, and then this area falls within that mixed use, which allows for multifamily.
So the only entrance and exit is gonna be off Buffalo Springs?
Correct, 2 of them on Buffalo Springs. There was, if you remember, Taylor Morrison discussion, they had a stub street to this property. Worked back and forth with the fire marshal to make sure that that didn't need to be extended through. There's no issue there because what Taylor Morrison did is they created a full boulevard entrance. So there's technically 2 full roads in and out in case one is blocked.
Is there a traffic study associated with everybody going out on the Buffalo Springs?
There will, and I misspoke. There will be, one of the items is they are required to submit a traffic study.
Okay.
Because it's a lot on, Buffalo Springs is already a busy road.
Yeah.
And, it is a concern of.
It backs up, trying to go north, I guess that's going south.
Correct.
That just backing up on that line.
Yeah, and also, just, we know Buffalo Springs is not in the best shape, so the city is working right now with the county to do a repave of it through interlocal agreement, and then the long-term plan, like we did on BCS, is to continue to pave and make it concrete as we work the way north.
So the county and the city are working together right now, okay? And they will continue to work together, or is that a fade out of the county, or?
No, so the city has an interlocal agreement with the county specifically for paving. The county has a bunch of either in-house staff and/or contractors that they have on call for paving jobs. And so historically, the city gets a much better rate because correct me if I'm wrong, generally the city pays essentially material cost, and the county provides the labor to be able to keep going. So the city's done that for a handful of jobs. It works out really well. Again, we know long term there's going to be more work needed in Buffalo Springs just because traffic is not going to slow down. But getting a mill repave is better than
Agreed. That'd be
That will
nice.
happen this year.
It will?
Yeah.
That's a good product after that. 2 inch? Or
What's that?
how much do you generally add back on top?
So I don't know exactly what the county's going to do, but just for sake of reference, when we did the Buffalo Springs project for BCS, most recently, we had a geotech analysis through both a concrete option and a asphalt option. With how poor the soils are, it was cheaper to go with concrete. I think their recommendation for asphalt was, don't quote me on this, I'll gladly send it to you after, but it was like 18 inches of base,
Just
6 to
stabilize it.
stabilize, and then I think 3 inches of asphalt on top. I mean, it was significantly more expensive than going with concrete.
Makes
Hmm.
sense. No, I like that. No action now?
No action.
Yeah,
Like we do?
all right. That is for 8, Chris?
That is.
Yeah, okay. Number 9, item 9, consideration of possible action on the preliminary plat for HEB development, number 2402.
All right. I know everyone has probably noticed the HEB going in, so no surprise there, but we're catching up with some of their paperwork. So the preliminary plat's in front of you, the final plat is going to be coming really soon after. But what you'll see in this is the plat of the entirety of the development, all the way from the creek to 2854 and 105. It's made up of 7 different reserves across that. So if you look in the packet, you'll see a key map followed by the actual preliminary plat with the grades at the time and the layout. So again, we have no objection to it. They've met all the rules. Obviously, their construction plans have been approved. They're well into construction. They're still aiming for a November open of the project. Their goal is to be open sometime in November. And,
Of 2026?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is going to check on the historical marker
So,
that's going to
I
go
was gonna
back?
bring that up. So, at the last council meeting, council approved a variance for a flagpole. That flagpole will be on 150-foot flagpole on the site that they will own and maintain with the Texas flag. And at the base of that flagpole, they are relocating the historical marker there and landscaping, et cetera, around it. And so that's where that historical marker is going to be relocated to, because it was kind of right there at the detention pond of 2054. So they pulled it off, they moved it to the side, they protected it, and now they went back and they're putting in the flagpole and going to put that marker with the flagpole. And so
Will it be lit with the solar lighting or anything? I can't remember.
it'll be, the flagpole itself will be lit.
Yes.
It won't be solar, it'll be lit from the bottom, just 'cause
Okay.
it's 100 foot, so it'll be the best they can.
Just asking because that was one of my things
He
today.
said the whole star base is gonna be lit, they're gonna do the in-ground lighting.
Oh.
That way anybody can go
I
there.
love it when HEB does that.
Where's it going to be located at? I
So
can't see
it doesn't show on here, but generally, if you look on page, after the key map, or you look at the key map, it'll be along 2854,
Okay.
kind of, so if you driven by recently, they have the driveway closest to 2854, and there's the big retaining wall, it'll be sitting generally at the top corner of that.
Okay. That'd be nice.
Nicer than the 2 electrical poles and the wirings coming down
Yeah, there's-
where it
they-
was.
They have a lot of work to do
Yes.
between now and November, but they have the paving's going on for TxDOT widening, because they're widening that intersection, adding turn lanes, so that's ongoing right now. They completed the installation of the public water and sewer on the frontage. Just as a reminder, there was they're paying for that completely themselves. We're just waiting on testing to put that in service. And then obviously all their site work is mad dash. So approval, I say this every time, but approval of the preliminary plat is not, you're not authorizing the plat to be recorded, it's just approval with the concept of the preliminary plat, how they're subdividing it. It'll come back to you for approval of the final plat, which you will actually sign, and that will get recorded at that time.
Just confirm that we recommend approval.
Correct. Yes.
It's not approval here, right? It's city council approval.
No, city council will not approve the preliminary.
Okay.
City council will approve
I'm not.
the preliminary. They do, so you're recommending.
We recommend approval to them.
Recommending approval of the preliminary plat.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval on the preliminary plat for HEB development number 2402.
Yes, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for the recommendation of approval of the preliminary plat for HEB development number 2402. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 10, consideration of possible action on a variance request regarding the required tree assessment for the Legacy Grove Section 2 development number 2501.
All right. So a couple things on this one. So the current ordinance, y'all remember the tree ordinance. So the tree ordinance started, which had a heavy tree survey cost in order for these developments to go forward, and then a planting and protection requirement. Those that modified, it took all that away. That was just a planting requirement. And then an interim ordinance was adopted that put the tree survey back in, but it lost some of the teeth of the actual planting part and the protection part of it. So what this variance request is requesting just a variance to not do the assessment. It doesn't change the requirement of the planting and having the coverage. Just not doing the assessment for a few reasons, and the developers and engineers here can also attest to this. One, Section 1 was not required to do the tree assessment, and so some of the clearing has already taken place in Section 2, and then construction in Section 1, so that's one piece of it. It wasn't required because that was done prior to the time of the interim ordinance being adopted, and we are currently in the works of with the UDO of changing that back to not having the tree assessment. Because what it turns out to be is, I don't remember on this property specifically, Jonathan might, it was an $80,000 survey, because the way,
It would have been way more.
You think it was more?
We didn't quote it.
yeah, because the way that the ordinance is written is that every tree over 6 inches has to be not only located, but take a diameter as well as type. And so they would give us a survey with 1,000 points that says, it's tree number 102 is a 6-inch pine, tree number this. And it doesn't really change their development plan. They still have to do the plantings, they still have to provide the greenery, so they're just requesting a change to not have to do the tree assessment portion of the preliminary plat. So it's required at the preliminary plat stage, and then during construction plans, they're required to submit a landscape plan that shows the areas that they're keeping trees in the green spaces and where they're planting trees on both the lots and in open spaces, common areas.
Question there. Can you remind us on the planting requirements?
So for single-family homes, it's 2 trees per lot. At least one of them has to be in the front, so they can do 2 in the front, or 1 in the front, 1 in the back. And then for the open areas, it's 20% coverage, more or less, canopy coverage in those areas. So where they have open spaces, I'm summarizing briefly because detention ponds and stuff don't apply. But in those open spaces and green spaces, they're providing landscaping. And both, this development, they have an extensive landscape package that they're putting on Lone Star Parkway with their signage. I would fully expect them to do the same thing on 105 as they work themselves through. And John can probably give you more exactly what they're proposing.
How you doing? So as Chris indicated, this was already cleared. Phase 2 has already been mass graded, so when we got the preliminary plat with Phase 1, we did have a mass grading plan, which we, at that point, kind of showed and had the calculations of what was going to be cleared and how we would meet the overall tree planting requirements at that time. We are going to be clearing a little bit more with this next phase. There's just some infrastructure that we did notice that we need to put in with Phase 2. The majority of all the roads and paths and everything else has actually already been cleared. So like he said, to prevent us from having to go take a photo of every tree on site, I think we actually have to take a photo of them in all 4 directions, north, east, south, west. I don't think he wants to review 10,000 photos. That actually has to accompany the plat. And then the planting requirements did get lost, and so in that ordinance change, there's actually no requirement in the ordinance currently that says that if you take down a tree, there's minimum requirements now. And so we've kind of been requesting these here and off and on, and just saying we would like to just adhere to the older kind of requirements. We understand what those are. We go into our planning, we're doing the initial engineering and land planning that we know what we're getting ourselves into, because we're not trying to just go bulldoze everything and just not plant anything. So, but like this one's a little bit easier since we've already cleared the majority of what we plan on clearing, other than a small area that may be a quarter of an acre, if I had to guess. That would answer any questions you have.
You're referring to the reforestation ordinance?
Yeah, right now that's missing what the new planting requirements are. Like if you take down trees, what are you supposed to do to mitigate that? So we would just been trying to follow.
When you say we, did you contact the city to see if they located them or if they could locate them?
It's just not in the ordinance right now. It's not in the adopted ordinance.
Yeah, the interim ordinance that was adopted took that out. So, I say, I don't like using the word all, but also most developers, if not all developers, have, reverted back to the old one, which is the percent coverage requirement, because it's something that one is a previous rule that we can base it off of, and the developers are wanting to both of the developments, because the next time it's the exact same thing. They're not wanting to just create a clear-cut, grid neighborhood with the smallest lots as possible. I mean, they're both mixed sizes. This one has 90-foot lots, 80, 90-foot lots.
Yeah, some are half acre, and right now they're going through and painting the detention pond and having a walking path around there. They preserved a lot of trees in the first phase. If you drive out there, you'll see a lot of trees preserved between backup lots of different streets. Same thing was done in section 2. If you drive out there, you'll see that. You just can't drive out the roads because you're not paved yet, but same concept. So it's not anything different. It's just the rule that's required for preliminary plat approval. So as we're trying to get the preliminary plat approved next session, so that this is needed for.
Chris, on the ordinances looking ahead, are we looking to reincorporate and reinforce distinction?
Yeah, so you go more like what we had before. So taking out the tree survey requirement, because it's been a burden, and putting in, reestablishing the preservation and planting requirements. It gives the lead does credit for preserving, as well as obviously credit for planting.
So, well, it's still, is the goal to still require, hey, I take down a 6-inch tree, I have to either match that in 2 3s or anything like that, or?
So canopy requirement
Canopy
more than
requirement, okay.
anything, because some of it's green space the new UDO is going to say it like this. It's going to talk about green space or tree canopy. So they have some options in there, but it'll be much more clear. It is much more clear. We're just
On your option.
we're getting through the legal comments and stuff, and we actually have a meeting on August 18th.
Yep.
You guys should be there. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Going forward, though, the new builders, is it retro or moving forward? Say August 18th, everyone's happy and we say good to go, and it's legally correct. How is that going to affect the current developers?
It won't. So
Okay.
there'll be there's a period of time that it has to go through obviously the adoption. So even saying August 18th, it's good to go. It has to go through the adoption steps. There's a public notice period, and then there's a like I said, compliance period, but a cutoff date. So developers that are, if, like their preliminary plat, if it got adopted in between the preliminary and final, we're not gonna go back and say, now we're changing the rules. So what happened in this case is section 1 was done prior to the interim ordinance. Section 2 is post the ordinance. Now we're saying for this next section, which is a new platted area, we need the survey for that section. And that's what the variance request is requesting, because it doesn't apply as much, because one, like John said, we've already cleared it, and 2, it's kind of middle of the process for the development.
So we should be looking for variances, unless people intend to do a tree assessment, for anything that will be preliminary platted until the cutoff date?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And this
And
next,
some of the smaller ones, it's not that big of a deal.
yeah,
Technically, Mr. Cheatham, his development needed with his preliminary plat, a tree survey. He won't need it because there's only 2 lots, so not the best example. But any small development would require it again, but it's a bigger burden on when you're doing 100 acres versus of a forest versus.
Y'all had previously approved the similar variance on Caroline Court, right by west side of the park.
Yeah.
That 50-acre parcel to do a tree survey was quoted at around $120,000. So that just kind of gives you a frame of reference of what that burden could be when the data doesn't necessarily benefit or allow us to do much with it. So for this, if this is fully put in, I can only imagine it could have been double that cost, but it's like 120 acres.
so the next section that you're fixing to work on,
Yes, ma'am.
because in any area where trees are growing or not growing, in the ups and downs and creeks and all that good stuff, natural waterway, would you say this next section is highly, has a high amount of trees on it, or is this section a little less than the previous one?
It's probably roughly the same.
Okay.
The idea-
I'm just wondering if it deviates, as you go down.
It doesn't. I mean, because they're going to be larger lots anyways.
Okay.
That's the what they wanted to build. That was their price point. That's the people that they wanted to bring into that subdivision.
Okay.
The view that they had is that we preserved almost as much as we could. So we kind of did the pads, graded off the pads, and we tried to leave 20 to 50 feet maybe on the back of each lot. And of course, if somebody wants to go thin that out a little bit to be able to have some room in there, they can. But they wanted these large buffer zones, so we used that natural topography and then laid in the roads and made the transitions in between. It's tough to do that whenever you got 50-foot by 120s for a completely different market, but for this, it's much larger lots are 150 to 200 feet long, so you've got a little more flexibility.
Now, does this stop? Do we approve, or is this a recommendation as well?
I'm sorry?
Is this a recommendation for approval, or are they approving the variance? Does it
Yeah, we-
go to council?
I think it does.
I think it goes to council.
That's what I
Yes.
thought.
I think it goes to council.
Okay. Now I'll make a motion to recommend approval on a variance request regarding the required tree assessment for the Legacy Grove Section 2 development number 2501.
A second.
I have a motion and a second for the recommendation of approval for the variance request regarding required tree assessment for Legacy Grove, Section 2, development number 2501. All in favor of the approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Approval passes. Item number 11, consideration possible action on the variance request regarding the required tree assessment for crossing at Montgomery Development number 2403.
Very similar to the last one. So this is, crossing of Montgomery is the property that extends along the railroad tracks from Old Plantersville to Old Plantersville, between the two. And so they're requesting the same thing, requesting approval for a variance of not having to do the tree survey, it doesn't change the requirements for planting, et cetera. They haven't gotten that far in the development. They're just requesting to be able to proceed with the preliminary plat and the project without completing the tree survey. Same thing, Jonathan's here as representing the developer. He can answer any questions specific to the development that you have. And this request, just so we're clear, is for both sections.
Yeah, so because what we have, I know that the plat that is referenced in the packet is for section 1, but we have submitted plans for a full mass grading of the entire section. It'll just be platted as we go. And so the plat only requires tree survey of what's in the platted boundary, but we can do mass grading over the entire site, and that never really requires a tree survey on the entire site for that approval. But we have sheets in our mass grading that shows how we will achieve the minimum planting requirements as a part of that set of plans that would be ultimately approved by the
Should we make sure that this is stated in our agenda when we go to approve it for multiple phases, or do we want to say yes to this? If we say yes to this, it just kind of covers all of it, or do we want to do it each time? Or do we just want to say, I mean, usually it has to be official.
Go with each plat or blanket, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a blanket, why doesn't it say, our paperwork should state that it's for,
And to be fair, I only applied for section 1 because
Right.
I had that thought
Yeah.
of how we're doing the whole clearing and grading.
and I get what you're saying, but officially, if anyone comes back and someone says, hey man, that 300-year tree, or whatever they're gonna say,
You could clean it up in your motion if you would like. That's fairly consistent on this variance for that tree survey, so you can clean up the language a little bit to cover the entire development if you choose.
Is the whole development 86 acres, or is it just phase?
The overall section, I believe, is 86.
Just this first section?
The plat, section 1 is 27 acres of the 86.
Okay. You're,
Okay,
The southern
so,
tract, the whole
The-
southern parent tract.
so right now, this would be for the section 1, the 27 acres.
Technically, I think the variance is for the 27 acres, but if you so choose, would like to.
I mean, technically, your variance request is for the legal description, 86.425 acres of Zacharias Landrum Survey A22.
I think it's our letter, yeah, presented.
Then I would say it's for the full development, correct? That's how I read the actual variance request, not the agenda necessarily. but
yes, but the variance does state
elsewhere.
it.
And that's how I would also rewrote the item. We just said crossing at Montgomery Development.
Yeah.
We didn't specifically say as a whole, but versus we said just section 2 on item 10. The intent was, the only reason it was only section 2 is because section 1's already done. So it would have been again, for the development.
And the other plats were hardly even in the package. We don't have those ready.
Right.
So you want, what you're asking is the variance. Here's the railroad tracks and it's got gravel, and then there's trees, and then there's a fence. And you're asking for the variance between the railroad tracks and the fence because you own the trees on the other side of the fence?
We're only asking to not do the tree assessment for anything within the boundary. So there are trees between the railroad and the fence that's owned by the railroad company that obviously wouldn't be in our plat boundary, so that wouldn't necessarily be something we could touch or survey anyways. So we're asking for the tree assessment waiver on anything within the 86 acres of the entire boundary.
I'm just going to take out a lot of sound barrier.
I know it's separate issues, and this doesn't have a lot to apply with the tree assessment, but compared to the previous one we were looking at, this has a much less, maybe generous remaining tree value than what we were originally talking about. But I do understand that's a separate issue altogether, but just making a note. from what I'm seeing, just off the initial plat, it looks like
It's
right
a
in the
much
middle.
higher development. There's also less trees today than Tri Point, the
That's
Legacy Grove.
Yes.
So it's open pasture for the most part. This section's a little bit heavier wooded than the eastern.
It's still, yeah, there's a decent amount of pasture, but, challenging smaller lots. There's a lot of topography, and you're having a lot of the change in topography. So we do have a bunch of retaining walls to be able to make this project work, and obviously, they're not huge, but there are retaining walls.
Yeah.
So, yes, give us very limited room to work, to lay everything out.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the variance request regarding the required tree assessment for the crossing at Montgomery Development, and just adding this to my motion, that's the entire development number 2403.
The total 86.1 acres, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for the approval of the variance request regarding required tree assessment for crossings, Montgomery Development, crossing at Montgomery Development, number 2403, and this will cover, let me get the right. Where'd that go? It's 86 point,
425.
I had it somewhere.
The 86.4250.
86.540.
425.
425. That includes the whole development tract of 86.425 acres. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
We have ayes have it, 3-1. Item number 12, consideration of possible action regarding the request for special use permit to construct and maintain a temporary paved parking area on a residentially zoned lot located at 611 Ruby Bend Lane in the Montgomery Bend Development.
Good evening again. So this is going to be a little bit different than the other special use permits that we've gone through. The other special use permits were for the temporary construction trailer. This is now for a temporary parking area. And this is to support the model home that is across the street. It would relieve some of the parking that's occurring on the street in this development, and it would take the parking off of the street and put it onto this parking lot. Because of its temporary nature, and it's going on a residentially zoned property, that's why we're applying this special use permit. I recommended a few conditions on this special use permit. You could attach an expiration date to it, and like how we had expiration dates for the construction trailers. They requested an expiration date until the subdivision is substantially built out. You could define what that substantially built out might be and make a recommendation based on that. Once this special use permit expires, recommending that maybe you might require that they bring the space back to an original residentially zoned property condition, removing any of the concrete that's going to be in the parking area, making sure that the residential lot is clean, clear, graded properly the way that it was platted. You could also require prohibiting any type of site lighting in the parking lot. They did say that the parking lot will just be lit by the street lights that are provided on that street. You could also say that there's no outdoor storage allowed in those parking spaces, that they might use it for something else. You could recommend that the parking spaces or the parking area remains good and free of any kind of rubbish and debris. They're not proposing any kind of vegetation there, so I have come across locations where they just kind of let the natural vegetation continue to grow. You can always recommend that the vegetation stay low or maintained. I assume that they'd like to keep this area properly maintained only because it is right across the street from the model home. Any visitors or possible people who would like to live in that development, I'm sure would love to see a clean area, even if it's just a temporary parking space. But there are some of those recommended conditions that you can place on here. We do recommend approval because it is a temporary nature, but you can set the what you feel would be necessary for an expiration date of the special use permit.
So that lot is not next door to a model, it's across the street from a model.
It would be across the street from the
And
model. They're
those-
proposing that the lots on either side of this parking lot will not be built out until towards the end, so there wouldn't be any immediate residences next door to the parking lot.
Okay.
And it is close to the front of the development.
Mhm.
They're not having to drive through the development to get to this.
What percentage are they at completion of that one area?
I don't know, I think that's section 1. I don't know what percentage.
And they're using it so people can visit to see the model home and then go and see other homes?
Possibly.
Okay,
This is specifically for the model home.
okay.
I suppose if they want to see what their lot would look like, where they would place their home, they would drive around and see where it would be. I don't know what percentage they're at right
I just have a few things. The times of usage, AM, PM, morning, night, the days, Monday through Sunday, Monday through Friday, whatever it is. Will there be any markings? Like, will there be, lines? Or is people just going to randomly park? Will there be those curb stops so that when you drive in, they're not driving off the cement or whatever into the grass? And the entrance, is it going to be like a driveway entrance, or will it be wide so they can come and go in two separate directions? That's all I have to ask.
In your packet, you should have the site plan
Right?
for that. All the maneuvering will occur on the right of way. So what they're doing is pulling in from the street
Mm-hmm.
and right into the parking space. And when they pull out, they're pulling back on, is it Ruby Bend?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to use the whole width of the lot for the entrance and exit, basically. Okay.
And they are going to have
The
disabled.
actual
And
parking.
what
And-
material are they using for the temporary paving?
They're saying it's concrete.
So they are going to concrete it.
Mhm.
25 foot, there's disabled. I was just wondering when you're coming in, is there going to be confusion, like coming and
I
going?
got you.
And then they'll tear up the concrete and put a house on it.
Eventually, yes.
So is it open 24/7, or is it open during business hours?
During model home.
Hours,
Yes.
which are open weekends?
Yes.
And,
It
okay,
will be open on weekends.
okay, so it's 7 days. Business hours, is that what you're saying?
Business hours of the model home.
Okay.
Do we know what those are?
They usually run about 9 to 7.
I was gonna say, yeah.
7, and go later. Sunday usually.
You don't want to drive through there and Joey be parked there at 10 o'clock at night?
No.
So are they going to concrete the whole lot?
No.
Yeah.
Just that entrance?
Just,
Oh,
It's
just the
18
entrance.
feet.
Just 18
where the
feet.
parking
18
is.
feet.
Yeah.
Just 18 feet up there.
Okay.
Well, what's gonna,
So you're only talking 4 spaces.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're not talking the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
That's why all the maneuvering will occur on the new bend.
Mhm.
Yep,
Pretty small
Okay.
scope of work.
that's nice.
So it looks like there's gonna be lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
And it's gonna be a 9-foot opening for you to pull in
In the handicap spot.
and a handicap spot.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
9 by 18. Okay.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of the substantial completion
Me
title.
either.
So what are we talking from y'all's perspective? Where are we sitting today? Are we talking 2 or 3 years? Are we talking 10 years?
What did we do on those trailer houses in Briarly?
We did 2 years,
Yeah.
and then they would come back, I believe it was 2028, December 2028.
Yeah, and we don't know what there's,
And that's reasonable.
we don't know what the percentage of the build is right now though, right?
So I don't have the total number in front of me. Between sections 1 and 2, there's 34 lots left.
Okay,
Section 3, they're just getting started. Section 4, they haven't even built the
Mm-hmm.
roads
So a
and
few
the
years.
infrastructure yet. So they have, I don't have the total number in front of me, but they have a substantial amount of lots to go. They're probably 50, 60%.
Well, can't we do it for 2 years and then have them come back for a renewal
mm-hmm.
if needed?
Yeah, and just for sake of example, at council last week, council approved an extension to install the sidewalks for an additional year in section 1 and 2. So they now have until October of 27 to get all the sidewalks in section 2 completed. Because they'd already gotten one year extension. They didn't get all the homes built within that first 1 year or the second 1 year. Now they're requesting the third.
Okay.
And is this gonna stay the original model home? They're not gonna build out a different section and put some new model?
No, not.
Okay,
not-
this is gonna
This
be
is
it?
the
All
model.
right.
That's my understanding. They haven't mentioned any other model homes, just using those and working on them. And it's only the one building, or two buildings, Syntax.
Syntax
That is lot 2.
I make a motion for, to agree to the special use permit to construct and maintain a temporary paved parking area on a residential zone lot located at 611 Ruby Bend Lane in the Montgomery Bend Development. And they will have to come back after 2 years. And they use it during business model viewing hours. Seems to be 7 days a week. And per the plot plan, it is 18 feet by 9. In the entrance, there's a one entrance and there is a disabled parking spot along with 3 other parking spots.
And when you say 2 years, are we saying 2 years from today, 2 years from?
2 years from city council's approval, especially permit.
2 years.
At least that's what happened.
Lot number 2, 2 years from city's approval. And use for model home use only.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve or pass on a special use permit approval for temporary, to maintain a temporary paved parking lot located at 611 Ruby Bend Lane in Montgomery Bend Development. That will be lot number 2 for a 2-year period after city council approval and only be used the hours of the model home and 7 days a week.
Should we put in there no overnight parking?
Now, I don't know who would enforce that.
Yeah, but I'm just, they may have a security guard.
They may.
If not, no.
We can add no overnight parking if you'd like.
Keep everyone safe.
Okay. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion has passed for approval of a special use permit to the city council for the lot at 611 Ruby Bend Lane in the Montgomery Bend Development. Okay. Item 13. You want to do your...
I was gonna wait for items for future
Okay.
agendas, I think we.
Okay.
Is this, so 14 is where I would request, but more so, sorry, we're on item 13, Commissioner inquiry. Do we have a time, is City Hall still intended to be complete next summer? Is there a start date?
Still on schedule.
Okay.
So far, I mean, we haven't started construction.
That's what I was wondering myself.
Okay.
So are we starting?
Yeah, it's getting close. They have the guaranteed maximum price.
Yep.
Very close. We had some discussions on the soil that's there and a few things because we're building a second floor, so there's some challenges in there, but I think we've got those addressed. We'll, next council meeting on the 10th, 11th. Yeah, they'll be here to let some of the guys are going to be doing it, and they'll talk about the price and all of that.
Okay. That's good. That's all I have.
Okay. And I would like to discuss a possible meeting date change from, what was it, October 6th for the, so everybody could go to the Faith and Blue
National Night Out.
at the Cedar Break Park. So if we can possibly agree on a date that week.
So I was curious, does this need to be on a future agenda item to like officially move it, or can we discuss
I
it?
think you can just do it.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Then, yeah, the Thursday, the 8th would be a little bit better for me than the 7th.
That works.
What you're saying the 8th would be better for you, Daniel?
Than the 7th, yes.
Okay.
If we're looking at one.
I'm good with
You
you.
good with that? Everybody good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'd like to reset the planning and zoning meeting for October the 8th at 6 o'clock.
Are we voting second? Or are we just saying it?
I'm just saying it.
Just saying.
I'll make
We'll
it.
make the proper notices and everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
You got a motion and a second for the adjournment of the August 4th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Meeting is adjourned at 7:34. All right, man. Have a good week. Rest of the week.
And I got all kinds of stuff. I got babies coming, kids
We
coming.
have too much work this week.
I think we're good.
Yes, sir. I have one second.
Let's work on you.
What do you polish me on my today or what?
I guess we could.
Why is it so shiny? Every time I see it, it's like, well, in the dark.
You want me to see you? Right. Right, so we don't have to know.
About the trees that were
I would
used.
appreciate it.
You doing good?
All right.
I get home, I would say tomorrow, it's Thursday.
Oh, that's nice. Sure. Whenever I see you over there, I just very upset.
What do you know?
I've had it.
Okay, that's what you
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
I just don't know where.
Yeah, send that out there. Yeah. Yeah, they've got a group of them.
Is it new duplex? We're talking about it, that's a freeze, we're calling it the